Under coach Mike Tomlin, the Steelers have won 7 straight coming out of the bye week.
Hey, embrace the moment. Embrace the moment. Embrace the moment. One play at a time, locked in, doing this together. It's time to hunt. It's time to hunt. Let's go. Hey, 1 on 3. 1, 2, 3.
With a record of 25-6 versus rookie quarterbacks, the Steelers face their toughest challenge yet, Jaden Daniels and the firepower of the resurging Washington Commanders.
Feel great. Got to turn up in the black and gold, man. First day out, man. Debut. Back where it all started for me.
It's all about us. We dictate the day. We determine the pace. We get out these boys in 60 minutes and leave no doubt. Every time we take this field, we leave no doubt. We the best group on the field, and we got to show it. We got to show it in this back half.
It would be a tightly contested battle of division leaders in our nation's capital.
Here we go. This pass is caught, and that's a touchdown. That's the way to work. Come on. He's hit and sacked. The Steelers win the football game. Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. The Steelers made their first visit to the nation's capital since 2016 this past weekend. They overcame a double-digit deficit and also extended their win streak post-bye week to 8 games. The go-ahead touchdown by Russell Wilson marked his 40th career game-winning drive, and it also went to the newest member of the Steelers offense. For more on Pittsburgh's 7th victory of the season, let's welcome in Bob Pompeani, who's with Coach Tomlin. Bob.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. Steelers coming off what I would think is one of their best wins of the year on the road against a very good Commanders team, an up-and-coming team. Coach Tomlin is here to talk about that win. First off, you guys went to the trade deadline. You got 2 guys who made immediate impacts for you. That's pretty satisfying to see those guys come right in and make plays like that.
I am definitively appreciative of their effort, but we were really straightforward that we weren't going to define their acquisition by one performance. I didn't want to put too much weight on last week. They got on a moving train. I'm glad we were able to get contributions from them, but we're really going to measure their acquisition over their contributions for the remainder of our journey. And so I'm excited about that continuing. I'm excited about the foundation we laid, but that wasn't an agenda of ours to make those guys look good or make ourselves look good to justify their acquisitions. That will be revealed continually throughout the rest of this journey.
But that one big play to Mike Williams, I'm just curious how that play was supposed to go. How did it go? And the throw by Wilson off balance, going back, facing pressure, just to put it in a place where only Mike Williams can get it. Talk about the minutia of that play.
During the course of the week, I think more times than not, it was Calvin Austin who was running the route, but Calvin got shaken up in game, and so it provided an opportunity for Mike. We realized, obviously, that that's in his skill set, tracking deep balls, and so it wasn't a lot of, debate about inserting him in that moment, and he delivered.
George Pickens' catch, you've seen a lot of good ones over the years. Where was that one rank?
As you mentioned, George probably does things like that just about every week at this juncture, whether it's in stadium or in a practice-like setting. I don't think any of his teammates or any of us that are around him on a day-to-day basis are surprised by any of the unique body control and hand-eye coordination things that he displays.
All right, your defense, it was a victim of a double score. And you probably knew that had a chance of happening once you decided to take the kickoff, but they reacted after Jaylen Warren fumbled at the 1-yard line. How big was that sequence? 3 and out, forcing them to kick.
3 and out was an agenda of ours. The Commanders were number 1 in the NFL. I think they had only had 13 3 and outs all season. And so we're competitors. We wanted to buck that trend, and I think maybe we had 5 in game and none more important probably than that one. But if you want to play great defense, you got to smile in the face of adversity. You got to get off the field when you put in less than ideal circumstances, and that's something that we not only talk about but we train for, and that's an agenda. The players and their efforts make it real, and that was the latest example of them making that agenda a real thing.
A lot of people spent this week talking about the fake punt and the call, and it seemed to be perfect at the time. I'm just interested in how that all gets to that point. What do you do during the week to see it? and all of a sudden there's a look, even though you're down in distance, not in the best situation. When do you decide that's good?
First, I'll say this. We're not a trick play group. We didn't develop that schematic last week. The things that we do routinely. We work, and we just simply wait for an opportunity for it to reveal itself. And so that's why we have such great comfort in decisions like that, because it's not a 2 or 3 day discussion or decision. It's who we are. And we just refuse to allow people to cheat, to load the box on our punt team without consequence. And we want the football world to know it. And part of doing that is being willing to maybe even throw the ball on the minus 15-yard line if the look presents itself. And so, we try to take the mystique out of it. It's not a gadget play. It's not a trick play. It's a play. We work it over the course of a 12-month calendar. It just so happened that it showed up in that opportunity, and that's why I was so definitive in saying that I'd do it again, because I will. It's our football.
How much for a play like that to work has to be the element of surprise? Because I bet nobody at that juncture of the game thought that was going to be a call.
Again, it's not that much of a trick play for us. It's a routine executed play, man. If a guy's uncovered, throw the ball to him. And so I don't know that we even view it in that way. It's just a function of who we are.
Russell Wilson's now 3-0, and you look at his fourth quarter stats since he's been in there, 11 for 14, 3 touchdowns, almost a near perfect passer rating. Is this kind of what you were looking for when you made the switch at quarterback?
Again, I don't know that I ever viewed it as a switch. I never changed the depth chart. I was really clear about the pecking order and so forth. The media sure did, though, and I understand that component of it. And so Russ has a skill set that we have been cognizant of even prior to acquiring him. He's done nothing but confirm that, and even dating back to the spring. And so, I don't necessarily view this as a 3-week decision. To be quite honest with you, it's just reflective of who he is and our knowledge of who he is.
One other thing, you put the game away by drawing them off sides. And that play happened, but the reaction to me was very telling. Your team, all in, everybody had a reaction as soon as that happened, including you.
Because we love those petty victories, those sleight of hand victories, tricking the opponent, if you will, being situationally aware. We drill it and drill it and drill it, and it's a rewarding feeling when it works out in your favor in those moments. And I think that's their reaction was just kind of a reflection of that, man. It's fun when a plan comes together, like they used to say on the A-team when I was a kid. It's fun when a plan comes together.
It did, and it resulted in a 28-27 win for the Steelers. So now it's 2 teams with the same amount of wins. The Ravens come to Pittsburgh. Missy, should be a fun week. We'll talk about that game coming up on Sunday. KDK TV, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. And it would not be Steelers-Ravens if there wasn't a lot on the line. Baltimore currently has a 2-1 record in the division so far this season. Still to come as Russell Wilson gets ready for his first taste of AFC North football. Merrill Hodge explains how he has elevated the Steelers' offense in this week's playbook. That and much more as the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show continues right after the break.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Well, the Steelers have never waited so late in the season to play their first AFC North game, but maybe it was worth the wait. Round 1 at Pittsburgh and Baltimore marks the first time both teams have the same amount of victories and tied for the division lead since 2010. For more on what to expect Sunday at Acrisure Stadium, let's send it back to Bob and Coach. Guys.
Missy, thanks very much. Everyone looks forward to this Ravens-Steelers week. Coach, I want to ask you from your perspective. Now, you're in this, so you know it firsthand, but people talk about the best rivalries in sports. I always defer to this one, and I think it's because both teams are always competitive. How big of a play is that in making a rivalry special like this?
No question, and a component of that competitive reputation and resume that both organizations have is the stability. I think the stability makes it a significant rivalry as well. I've been here a long time. Harbs has been there a long time, and critical components of the organization, Ozzie Newsome and so forth. I think the continuity in both organizations is a component that makes it what it is. I don't know that there are any two other organizations in this game that have that level of continuity and competitiveness, being division opponents and so forth.
And to your point, both the Ravens and the Steelers come in here with the exact same win total. It's the first time that's happened since 2010. One of the reasons they're doing well is Lamar Jackson. You've seen him. You've had success against him. I think it's 7 interceptions and 20 sacks during that time. But this is a different version, it looks like to me. I mean, his pass accuracy from the pocket is best that it's ever been. What has he done to develop his game?
You know, I think he's continually developed his game over the course of his career. And so I don't know that I view this year any different. I just think it's a continuation. It seems like every version of him is, more advanced and developed. And it's a credit to him and that organization in terms of their willingness to develop and utilize his talents and build football around it. And I think that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at 2024 Ravens and 2024 Lamar Jackson. It's just a culmination of years of work and commitment to a skill set and style of play, and it's something that we all have to deal with. Thankfully for us, we're a little bit more familiar than most because of the nature of our relationship and how often we see each other.
The added component is Derrick Henry. They bring him in, and they have like 1,800 yards as a group. Those two account for almost all of it. This is a guy who's just like almost Cam Hayward in the sense that as the years go on, he seems to get better.
Yeah, he's a big dog. He brings a unique skill set. Again, I'm thankful that we've seen him before because his skill set does travel. The same things that are making him great this season has been his calling card in the past. He can turn a big run into a ridiculous run. When he gets to the second and third level, particularly if he gets there uninterrupted, he is a problem. His free hand is a weapon for him. You got to negotiate his stiff arm, and his track speed is still very much there at 30+ years of age. And he doesn't need an endorsement from me. He's got tape to verify that. He's been plus 80 a couple of times already this year. And for us, it's not only about managing the wear and tear, the attrition component of dealing with him, because obviously he's a big man and he can wear you down over the course of the game. But there's also a bomb component in that he can go off at any time for big chunks of real estate. And so we're preparing with an edge. We're excited about it. You want to know if you got a good defense or a good team, pitch your skills against a couple of guys like the two we're talking about, and you're going to find out real quick.
And that obviously complements what they have at wide receiver. And Zay Flowers also. Bateman has been very good for them, I think, with 4 touchdown passes, and their tight ends. So they have a lot of people who can hurt you in different ways. So that play action, I guess, is a real concern.
There's no question. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Mark Andrews. He and Lamar have had a unique and interesting relationship and production over the course of their career. They're in the same draft class. And so I can imagine, man, as young people, man, they probably stayed in temporary housing and learned the playbook together. And so those waters run deep, and that's why you see him having such a really good rapport. And that's why you see it picking up in a big way in recent weeks, man, particularly in the red area. Mark has been a major component of what they do. And as you mentioned, they've added to that collection over the years. Zay Flowers is a significant addition. His ability to kill you in a lot of ways once he gets the ball in his hands. Wide receiver screens, jets, his run after catch is spectacular. He had a ridiculous 50-something yard touchdown the other week in a 2-minute-like sequence because you got to corral him quickly once he gets the ball in his hands. And so, Lamar has a full repertoire of weapons to use, but make no mistake, it starts with number 8. It better, because he can kill you in so many ways.
Their defense is kind of a mixed bag. They're very good against the rush. You look at number 2, I think, overall. They sack people 31 times, Kyle Van Noy, but they've given up a lot against the pass. Is that sort of an invitation to go down the field?
They've given up a lot against the pass because they've been ahead in a lot of games. They've won the same number of games that we have, but the texture of the games, how these games are unfolded, have been dramatically different than ours. They've been up on a lot of people. A lot of the offenses have been one-dimensional. And so I think, them, quote-unquote, being last in the NFL versus the pass is more of a reflection that they're whacking people and people are getting one-dimensional and throwing the ball 50 and 60 times a game, to be quite honest with you. I don't see negligence when I look at their video. They got quality players, particularly in the secondary, guys like Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphreys, who are Pro Bowl caliber players. And so I'm not reading too much into that, last against the pass nonsense. And I'm looking at their tape. I see a group that's controlling games and in front of people and forcing people probably to throw more times than they'd like to. And I think that's also reflective, obviously, of the sack total.
No question about it. All right, Coach, thanks. When we come back, we're going to talk about the keys to this game, and it's a big one coming up on Sunday afternoon at Acrisure Stadium. What a scene it's going to be. Ravens and Steelers. Missy, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Well, Pittsburgh has won 7 of the last 8 meetings, but no surprise, all of those games have been decided by 7 or fewer points. Coming up next, will Russell Wilson extend his NFL leading streak of 22 straight games with at least 1 passing touchdown? Merrill Hodge breaks down number 3 success in his latest playbook. Now it's time for a Yin's Chat predictive question. Will Patrick Queen have over or under 6.5 tackles against his former team? Just head to the Steelers mobile app and answer for a chance to win a signed number 6 jersey. And remember to play every week for a chance to win the season-long grand prize. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
When the Ravens come to Acrisure Stadium on Sunday, it will mark the first of 4 straight divisional games for the Steelers. Pittsburgh's last loss at home to Baltimore was in 2022 when Mitch Trubisky was the quarterback. Now it's Russell Wilson's turn in this heated rivalry. And for more on the team's new QB, here's Merrill Hodge.
Hi everyone, welcome back into the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex for the Acrisure Playbook. Okay, this offense has taken another step since Russell Wilson became the starter. Why? In the National Football League, it doesn't matter who your offense is, your defense is, you have to have a lot of phases to your team and to your offense. The less phases, the less chance you can win a championship. And that's really what I think they were anticipating, is that Russell Wilson was going to add a phase of anticipation and experience and different types of throws that would elevate the passing game. And it was true. This one play is going to be an example of that. Okay, they're going to bring Freiermuth down into the box. Now that does a couple of things for them. It helps them identify matchups, and it puts another blocker in the box to help protect your quarterback and give him time. Okay, now 22, when he slides down, that's the matchup that he wants. That's what Russell Wilson is looking at, is his alignment. So he's got outside technique. He knows his guy in the slot is a lot quicker and faster, and based on that alignment, he's going to get beat based on the route. And he's just going to have to make the throw, which is exactly what happens. But as we snap the ball, you can just see how quickly the route gets on top of him, and based on him having inside technique, he's got to turn, and by the time he turns to run, well, it's too late. Now what is required is you have to have an accurate throw, you have to have an on-time throw. That's why you bring in protection, and that's why Russell Wilson has been asked to elevate this passing attack. These are the areas that you've gotten better, identifying and anticipation and certain different types of throws. And this is a great example of all of those things on display, and it ends up being a touchdown. It's a big-time route, and it's a great throw, and that's all seen within a fraction of a second. It's a difficult offense to defend, and you can't shut down all those phases.
You can catch all of Merrill's playbooks throughout the season on the Steelers' official YouTube page. Well, this most recent edition of Steelers and Ravens has featured the same head coaches for almost 20 years. Sunday will mark the 36th meeting between Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. Coach Tomlin, though, has the edge 20-15. For more on how he can continue to add to the win column, here's Bob and Coach with your keys to the game, presented by your neighborhood Ford store. Guys.
All right, Missy, thank you. It's time to take a look at some of the big components of this game, and I obviously would start with their offense. It's been really at a high level. How do you slow them down? And what's been the secret to your success over the years in doing well against Lamar Jackson?
To get them uncomfortable, to get them in a competitive contest, it's important that you stay close to this group. They're very comfortable at controlling games, and so they got to know that they're in a game. We got to start with a certain level of success in all three phases, and if we do that, be prepared for 60 minutes of football. One of the things that's always been interesting to me is, the groups that potentially capture the headlines pregame aren't necessarily the groups that determine the game. All week, their offense and our defense has gotten a lot of attention, but I'm not going to be surprised when our offense versus their defense or special teams determines the outcome of this game. But I think that just speaks to the nature of this rivalry, how close it is, and how every single play has been significant and how close these games are. And so I'm excited about the groups that have gotten less recognition and less attention this week. I'm excited about our offense and special teams unit versus their defense and special teams unit. Obviously, it's going to be a heavyweight fight regarding Lamar and company against Cam and company, and that'll be exciting too. But I'm not going to be surprised when the other less publicized components of the game weigh heavily in terms of determining the winner.
Physicality is always a big hallmark of this rivalry. I would expect the same this week.
Yeah, you can book that. Book that.
We're going to book another show. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate your time. It's going to be the Steelers and the Ravens coming up on Sunday. We begin our coverage at 11:30 a.m., followed by 2 hours of postgame. So join us for that. And that's going to wrap it up. For Missy Matthews and head coach Mike Tomlin, I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for joining us on this 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show edition of the Ravens and the Steelers, and we'll see you tomorrow at Acrisure Stadium.